Medusa. The name whispers of monsters and magic, of serpents and stone. But Medusa wasn't always a monster. She began as a woman, a priestess, a beauty so captivating, it rivaled the gods. Imagine Medusa, young, vibrant, with hair like spun gold. Imagine Medusa, young, vibrant, with hair like spun gold. Her eyes, bright and full of life. She dedicated herself to Athena, goddess of wisdom and war. Within Athena's temple, Medusa found purpose. She found peace. But destiny, like the gods, can be fickle. A storm was brewing, one that would shatter Medusa's world and twist her fate. It began, as many tragedies do, with the gaze of a god. Athena's temple stood on a hilltop, a majestic structure that had withstood the test of time. Its presence was a testament to the devotion of those who worshipped there, a beacon of hope and faith for miles around, a beacon of white marble against the azure sky. The temple's columns reached towards the heavens, as if in eternal prayer. The sunlight danced on its surface, casting intricate shadows that seemed to tell stories of old. It was a sanctuary, a place of peace and prayer. Within its walls, the air was thick with the scent of incense and the soft murmur of whispered prayers. The tranquility of the temple provided solace to all who entered, a stark contrast to the chaos of the outside world. Here, Medusa felt safe. She moved with grace, her voice a gentle melody as she performed her duties. Each step she took was deliberate, each gesture filled with reverence. The temple was her home, her sanctuary, and she cherished every moment within its sacred confines. She tended to the sacred flame, its golden light reflecting in her eyes. The fire was a symbol of the goddess's eternal presence, and Medusa took great care in ensuring it never wavered. The flickering flames seemed to dance in harmony with her movements, a silent witness to her devotion. She prepared offerings for the goddess. Each offering was chosen with care, a token of gratitude and respect. The altar, adorned with flowers and fruits, was a testament to the bond between the mortal and the divine. Medusa's hands moved with practiced ease, each motion a prayer in itself. Her devotion was absolute, unwavering. She spent hours in prayer, her heart and soul dedicated to Athena. The goddess's presence was a constant comfort, a guiding light in Medusa's life. She found strength in her faith, a strength that carried her through even the darkest of times. Little did she know, a darkness was creeping toward her light. The once serene atmosphere of the temple began to feel heavy, as if the very air was thickening with foreboding. Shadows seemed to grow longer, and an unspoken tension filled the sacred space. One day, the temple doors swung open. The sound echoed through the halls, a stark interruption to the usual quiet. Medusa's heart skipped a beat, a sense of unease washing over her. She turned towards the entrance, her eyes wide with apprehension. A figure stepped inside, his presence radiating power. He moved with an air of authority, each step echoing with purpose. The very ground seemed to tremble beneath his feet, as if acknowledging the arrival of someone extraordinary. His eyes, as blue and deep as the ocean, settled on Medusa. There was an intensity in his gaze, a depth that seemed to pierce through her very soul. She felt a shiver run down her spine, a mix of fear and fascination. And in that moment, everything changed. The air seemed to crackle with energy, the very fabric of reality shifting. Medusa's world, once filled with peace and devotion, was now on the brink of an unimaginable transformation. The sanctuary she had known and loved was about to become the stage for a divine encounter that would alter her fate forever. Poseidon, consumed by lust, desired Medusa. He approached her, his voice a siren song promising power and pleasure. But Medusa resisted. Her heart belonged to the temple, to Athena. Her oath was sacred. Enraged by her defiance, Poseidon forced himself upon her. The sanctity of Athena's temple was shattered. Justice, it seemed, was a fickle thing. The gods, for all their power, could be petty and cruel. News of the violation reached Athena, but instead of punishing Poseidon, the goddess directed her wrath toward Medusa. Why? Perhaps it was jealousy, perhaps a twisted sense of justice. Whatever the reason, Medusa's fate was sealed. Athena, in her fury, unleashed a curse upon Medusa, a curse more terrifying than any weapon. Medusa's beauty, once her most captivating feature, became a horrifying spectacle. Her hair, once a cascade of gold, transformed into a writhing nest of venomous snakes. Her skin turned green and scaly, and her eyes, once so full of life, now held the power to turn any living creature to stone with a single glance. Medusa was no longer the beautiful priestess. She was a Gorgon, a monster to be feared. Banished from all she knew, she found refuge in a cave, her heart heavy with betrayal and despair. Exiled and alone, Medusa grappled with her terrifying transformation. The once beautiful priestess, favored by the gods, now found herself cursed and abandoned. The cave's darkness mirrored the despair that had taken root in her heart, a stark contrast to the vibrant life she once knew. The once comforting weight of her hair was now a constant threat, each serpentine strand filled with deadly venom. The snakes, with their cold, unblinking eyes, seemed to mock her, a reminder of her cursed fate. She could feel their movements, each one a potential danger not just to others, but to herself as well. Her reflection, once a source of pride, now filled her with horror. The face that had once drawn admiration now only brought fear and revulsion. The broken mirror symbolized her shattered life, each fragment reflecting a piece of her lost identity. She could hardly recognize the person she had become, but within the depths of her despair, a flicker of defiance ignited. She realized that she could not allow herself to be consumed by the curse. The fire in her eyes was a testament to her unyielding spirit, a spark that refused to be extinguished by the darkness surrounding her. She would not be a victim. The world had turned its back on her, but she would not cower in fear. She would rise above her circumstances, transforming her curse into a source of strength. Her clenched fists were a symbol of her resolve, a promise to herself that she would fight back. She would use her curse, embrace the power it offered. The snakes, once a symbol of her suffering, would become her allies. She began to see them not as a burden, but as a gift. Their hissing was no longer a sound of menace, but a symphony of power, a reminder of the strength she now possessed. The Gorgon's gaze, once a symbol of her suffering, would become her weapon. She learned to control it, to harness its power. Those who sought to harm her would find themselves turned to stone, their aggression frozen in time. Her eyes, once a source of shame, were now her greatest asset. Her isolation became her strength. The solitude that once felt like a prison now offered her the freedom to grow, to become something more than a victim of a cruel fate. The wind that blew through her snakes was a reminder of her resilience, a testament to her ability to stand tall against the odds. The once timid priestess was gone, replaced by a creature of formidable power. She was no longer the woman who had been wronged, but a force to be reckoned with. Her fierce stance was a declaration to the world that she would not be defeated, that she had embraced her new identity with pride. With each passing day, she honed her control over the serpents that crowned her head, their venom becoming a tool, a weapon. She trained herself to command them with precision, their movements a dance of deadly grace. The snakes, once a source of chaos, now moved in perfect harmony, a testament to her mastery over her own fate. Word of Medusa's power spread like wildfire. Her image, etched onto shields and armor, instilled fear in the hearts of men. Heroes and monsters alike trembled at the thought of her petrifying gaze. Athena, the architect of Medusa's misery, recognized the potent weapon she had created. She bestowed upon her favored hero, Perseus, a shield polished to a mirror-like sheen. It was with this shield that Perseus was able to defeat Medusa, using her own deadly gaze against her. But even in death, Medusa's power did not wane. Her severed head, still capable of turning flesh to stone, became a coveted artifact, a symbol of both terror and protection. Despite the fear she inspired, Medusa's image wasn't always a harbinger of death. In ancient Greek mythology, Medusa was one of the three Gorgons, and the only one who was mortal. Her hair, a writhing mass of snakes, and her gaze, which could turn men to stone, made her a figure of terror. But her story is more complex than mere monstrosity. In a strange twist of fate, the Gorgon's terrifying visage became a symbol of protection. Warriors would often carry shields adorned with her image, believing that her petrifying gaze could be turned against their enemies. The very sight of Medusa, which once spelled doom, was now a talisman of safety. Amulets bearing her likeness were worn to ward off evil. These small tokens, often crafted with intricate detail, were believed to harness Medusa's power. People from all walks of life, from soldiers to common folk, would carry these amulets, hoping to invoke her protective spirit. People believed that the same power that could petrify a man could also shield the innocent from harm. This duality of Medusa's nature, both destructive and protective, made her a unique figure in mythology. Her image was not just a warning, but a promise of safety to those who sought her favor. Just as she had once protected Athena's temple, her image now safeguarded homes and hearts. The ancient Greeks would carve her likeness into the walls of their temples and homes, believing that her presence would keep evil at bay. Medusa, once a guardian of sacred spaces, continued her role as a protector in a different form. From the shields of warriors to the amulets of the vulnerable, Medusa's duality emerged. She was a figure of fear, yet also one of hope. Her image was a reminder that even the most fearsome beings could have a protective side. This duality made her a powerful symbol in ancient Greek culture. She was both monster and protector, feared and revered. Her story is a testament to the complexity of mythological figures who often embody both light and darkness. Medusa's legacy is one of transformation, from a feared monster to a revered guardian. Her story, a chilling reminder that even in darkness, even in suffering, there is power to be found. Medusa's tale is one of resilience and strength, showing that even those who are cast as villains can have a redemptive side. Her image continues to captivate and inspire, a symbol of the enduring power of myth.